Hi everyone, this is Ridwan. I built this healthcare dashboard in Excel to analyze patient volume, costs, and hospital performance. In this video, I will walk you through exactly how I built it. Let's get started. Hello everyone. In this project, we are going to act as a data analysis consultant by a large healthcare network operating multiple hospitals across the United States. So the executive team is facing a challenge. They have a lot of patient data, but they don't clearly understand what is driving performance across their hospitals. So the key business problems they want answered are: number one, patient volume trends. How are patient numbers changing over time? Which hospitals are getting more patients? How does patient volume differ by age group? How does it differ by gender? How does it differ by admission type? The second question here is cost and length of stay. What is driving the average treatment cost and the average days patients spend in the hospital? Hospital performance. Which hospitals have the highest or lowest patient volumes? Now we have medication and test result patterns. What medications are commonly administered and what are the test result distributions? Number 5 question here, insurance impact. How does patient volume break down by insurance provider? And what implications does this have for reimbursement strategies? Lastly, we have seasonality question. In seasonality, are there seasonal patterns in patient admissions across this that affect staffing and resource planning? So these are the questions we want to answer. Now, the goal is not just to show numbers, but to support better operational and financial decisions. As you all know that the first stage of data analysis is to identify the problems. What problems are the company trying to solve? What questions are they trying to answer? Now we have the business problems. So the next stage will be to gather data. The next stage of every data analysis work is to collect data that will help you answer the identified questions. Now we have the data. The data is there. We need to understand this data. Oh, what do you observe? Some of the figures are not shown properly. Like the name is not shown properly. Even the date of admission, we can't even see any. And the date of discharge, we can't see any. So whenever you have this kind of issue, is not really a problem. So if you rest your mouse on any of these dash now, any of this ash that you are seeing here now, you agree with me that you are seeing the value. You see behind it, that's 18, 11, 20, 20. If you rest your mouse, so that shows that the column width is small to accommodate the value. So what you're gonna do is you take your cursor to this arrow here to capture all the data, to highlight all the data, and you take your cursor to any middle point between two columns, column B, column C. The middle point here is where you are seeing this plus. When you take the cursor to the line that separates two columns, you are going to have this kind of plus. So you just need to double click, or you take it to between F and G, or you take it between E and F. Just use any middle point between two columns. Double click, and you have it. You can see that everything is clear now. So now the next thing we're going to do here is let's try and understand our data. The first column we have here is the name of patient. We have the age, we have the gender, we have the blood type, and we have the medical condition, and we have the date of admission, we have the doctor, we have the hospital column, and we have the insurance provider, the billing amount, the room number, and the admission type, the discharge date, medication, and test results. So guys, whenever you have a data, the first thing you need to identify before analyzing any data is the KPIs. Try as much as possible to identify what your KPIs are. In every sector you are applying data analysis, you need to try to identify the KPI. So the KPI means key performance indicator. It's just a number that tells us if a business is doing well or not. I want you to think of a KPI like a body temperature when you are sick, your bank balance to know your financial health, your fuel gauge while driving. So all these are what are KPI. In sales sector now, if you tell me that you want to identify your high value customer, or you want to identify your best selling product, I can use KPI like total units sold to identify our best product. The most sold product in that case will be what? Will be your best product, because I have to break down total quantity sold for each of the products. From there, you identify the best selling product. You can also use revenue, maybe by revenue. You break down revenue by what? By product. So identify your best product. So that revenue that you are using in measuring the performance of your product is what is called a KPI. You can also identify your high value customer by the customer that patronize your business more, or the customer from where you get the most revenue. So in that case, revenue, you can also use it to measure customer performance. So revenue is an important KPI in sales. So, but this is healthcare analysis. So what we're going to do now, guys, is that we are going to try to identify the KPI that matter. Even if you don't have a business problem. Some company, they will tell you they've been gathering data for many years, but they've not been able to put it to good use. That is why you are being employed as a data analyst. Now they don't provide any question, only data sets. How do you go about it? Identify the KPI. Use the domain knowledge to identify what? The KPI. From the KPI, you can now use that KPI to identify questions to answer that will lead you to what? The insight that can make the company make informed what? Informed decision. The goal of analysis is to make informed decision. Is to make what? Informed decision. Now, guys, the KPI that matters. Based on this business problem, we want to identify the KPI that truly matter. The first one, if you look at the first question, we have here, guys, the first question here says, let me go there. Patient volume trend. How are patient numbers changing over time? So whenever you have a business question like this, it's always best to picture out the kind of output you are expecting. So what I'm expecting, or what I understand from this problem, is that the hospital want us to break down the total patient by what? By time. If you look there, I think the last question, they asked about seasonality. So they want us to break the total number of patients by what? By across the years. Is it increasing over the year or decreasing over the year? So that means I need two columns. I need the column from where I can calculate the total number of patients, and I also need the column from where I can get the dates. So let's check our data. Do we have it? Oh, the first thing we are seeing here is the name of patients. We don't have patient ID. So we can use the name. We can count the number of patients we have here. So the total patients now becomes what? The count of patients becomes the KPI. So 1. The next thing is, do we have date of admission? We have date of admission. Perfect. So we can answer the first question, which is what? Which is trend. So you see. Now the next question is okay, how are patient numbers changing over time by age group? Yes, they want to see how the patient volume differ by age group. How does it differ by gender? So that means we are still going to use the KPI, total number of patients, to answer all these questions. So we've identified one KPI, which is what? Total number of patients. Guys, the next question says cost and length of stay, cost and stay duration. Now, what column? Let's go and check if you have a column that we can use in answering that. Costs, treatment costs, what billing amount? So we can use the billing amount. The billing amount can be used here to get the total treatment cost and also the average treatment cost. Now, what about length of stay? We don't have a column here for length of stay, but as a data analyst, you should know how to manipulate your data and transform your data. We don't really have a column for length of stay, but we have date of admission, and we also have date of discharge. So we can subtract the date of admission from date of discharge to get a column for length of stay. So we are going to add a new column. We're going to add a new column. So I think those are the KPIs that truly matters. Let's go and check the question again to see. Okay. Now the third question says medication test result. What medications are commonly administered? To know medications that are commonly administered, I think we need the medication type as well as the total number of patients. So we're still going to use total number of patients there as the KPI to answer that question. Hospital performance. Which hospitals have the highest or lowest patient volumes? We're still going to use the KPI, total number of patients, to measure the hospital performance. So you can see how important KPIs are. Even if you're not giving the business problem, trust me, in as much as you have the domain knowledge in that sector and you are able to identify the KPI that matters, you you should be able to come up with questions that will lead you to the insight that can make the company make informed decision. Now, number 5 question says insurance impacts. How does patient volume break down by insurance provider? Of course, so I think we have these two. Let's go and check. Is there any column for insurance provider? Okay, we have it. So the KPI to answer that to still remain total number of patients. So we have to break down total number of patients by what? By insurance provider. And lastly, I think we discussed about this earlier, seasonality. So we've identified the business problems and we've also identified the data. We gather the data to answer the problem. So the next thing, or the next thing of data analysis, guys, after identifying the problem and gathering data, the next thing of data analysis is to now clean and transform your data. Of course, if you look at the first column here, it is dirty. We have a lot of inconsistencies here. They have different kind of case in a single record. If you look at Bobby Jackson, you can see they have capital letter in between Jackson. You see capital letter O and small letter N. So a lot of inconsistencies here. See Leslie, and Terry. You see. So we have a lot of, you see Emily Johnson here. So how do we correct this? We need to clean this data. So from here, we are going to load our data to Power Query, Microsoft Power Query. So because we already know what we are solving, so the next step is to bring the data into Excel properly. And before we can do that, we need to take the data to Power Query. So I want you to click on data. When you get to data, the next thing you do from here is get data. Get data. So from get data, you see from file. Remember I told you earlier that our data is CSV. Then you click on what? Test CSV. Test CSV. Test CSV. So let's see it's coming up. Now look at the data set we want to work on. Else, we're going to search for the data. Healthcare project. So this healthcare data set. This is the data set we want to work on. So you click on it, and it's going to take you to Power Query, where we can clean and transform our data. So it's always best to make use of Power Query because it is reproducible and it keeps raw data untouched. The raw data we use will be untouched, and it is best practice in real-world projects. Real-world projects we normally use Power Query because we can use it for automating our data. So let's dive in. So now see what we have, guys. We are getting to Power Query. We are yet to get there, but by default now Power Query has determined the file origin of your data, and Power Query has also determined the delimiter. It shows that it's comma separated value, and Power Query has also detected the data type, the type of data for each of these columns. But Power Query is just making use of 200 rows to give the data type. So what you need to do from here is just say transform to take us to Power Query, where we can begin cleaning and transforming our data. Now guys, this is Power Query. If you are a first time user of what is this thing called Power Query, I want you to go to view on your ribbon here, click on view, and you check the box for column quality. You check it. If I uncheck it now, you can see what has disappeared. So you need to check it. It is very, very important. With that, you get to see the validity of your data. If your data is valid, you see that. If it contains error or empty, you see the age. So now, but this tool is just based on 1,000 rows. The information you are seeing regarding each column is based on just 1,000 rows. So that means if you have 10,000 records, and if you have 10,000 records, the information you are seeing here at first will be only for 1,000. So that means after that 1,000, there might be error, there might be empty. So to be on safer side and to ensure that Power Query give you this profile based on the entire data set, you have to come here where you are saying column profiling based on top 1,000 row. Click on it and change it to column profiling based on entire data set. So once you change that, guys, you see it's doing it now, is reprofiling it. Let's see. So it's now using the entire data set to give you the validity figures there. So let's see. So you see guys, it shows that the name, the column is valid 100%, no error, no empty. The age too, no error, no empty. So you inspect everything, you ensure that no error, no empty. And if there is a missing value, you treat the missing value. Okay, perfect, everything is fine. Now the next thing, whenever you have the data in Power Query, guys, is to check the data type, if Power Query is giving it the appropriate data type or not. How do you do that? There are two ways. If you go to home, you see the selected column is name. If you look here, you see that you are seeing text under data type. Text is what you are seeing, right? Now, however, if you also click on, you are seeing ABC here. If you click on that ABC in front of the name, you see that these are the data types. So if you are saying ABC on name, that means Power Query give it what? Test, which is correct because the data we have there is test. Check the age too. The age you are seeing 123. Let's see what 123 means. 123 here means O number. It's also correct. Power Query is correct. See the gender too. Test, correct. So I think everything is correct, but we still need to confirm. Date of admission, I think this is also correct. This is a symbol for dates. It's correct. It's correct. So you see date. Doctor, that's also test, which is ABC. So you check everything. So everything is correct. Everything is correct. Now guys, the next thing we want to do from here, let's begin our cleaning and transformation. See the name here. How do we want to clean the name? So what I'm going to do here is click on the name, select the column and go to transform at the top. You are going to see format. Go to format and change it to capitalize each word. And let's see the beauty. Perfect. You see the beauty now that's been cleaned. Or with just a single click. And beauty of Power Query is that Power Query will monitor all your steps. So that means if you add a new data for another year and you just have to add it together with add it in the source of this data set, and Power Query will help you apply all the cleaning you've applied, all the steps you've applied on this data set, and it reflects, it automatically updates your dashboard. So that's the beauty of Power Query. It's used for automation. Now that's one thing we want to do. The next thing we want to do is also, if you look at the first question here, they talk about how does the patient volume differ by age group. We don't have a column that read age group, so that means we need to do what, guys? We need to regroup this age. How do we do that? We are still going to make use of what? Power Query to do that. So now to do that here, guys, what you need to do is go to add column, because we want to add a new column. So you do it under add column and you click on conditional column. Why? Because we want to create a new column based on condition. Based on condition, just like your if statement in Excel. So click on conditional column, guys, and when you get, it's gonna give you a box. Let's see, it shows a box now where we can. Now the first thing I'll do here is a new name. Let me change it to age group. The name of my column, I want to call it age group. So now column name, so it's begin with if, click on if. So we don't really have any particular criteria for this, but we're not given, so I'll just assume the categories myself. So if age less than or equals to 20, so any less than or equals to 20, let's give it the age range 10 to 20. 10 to 20. And if add another clause, because I have other categories, if age again is less than or equals to 30, you give it 21 to 30. Now you do add clause again. If age is less than or equals to 40, you give it 31 to 40, right? So, and you keep doing it. If age again is less than or equals to 50, then you give it what? You give it 41 to 50. If age again is less than or equals to 60, what do you give this? 51, right? You see 51 to 60. And if age is less than or equals to 70 this time around, then we call it 61 to 70. Right? And if age is less than, okay, we've done 61 to 70, right? So let's do greater than or equals to 70. That will be the last category. Greater than or equals to 71. Then 71 and above. 71 and above. So guys, this is how we categorize data in using Microsoft Query. Now using Microsoft Power Query. So if you can recategorize or regroup your income, you can regroup your maybe salary range, you can regroup your age. This is how we do it. It's very easy in Power Query. So you just say OK, and you're gonna have the column to the right hand side. So we have this is the age group. So I think that's the cleaning we want to do. Now I think we don't have a length of stay column too. If you look, so how do we get the length of stay? We said earlier that we are going to subtract what? Subtract the admission from where? From the discharge date. So guys, to do that we use a custom column. Custom column is what we use, not conditional column. Custom column is when you want to add a new column using formula. So I'll change this one to LOS length length of stay column. Then you equals to is already there. Just click on the discharge date is the bigger date, minus symbol. Then you go for date of admission. No syntax error have been detected. Then you do OK. We're gonna have it. So if you scroll down to the right hand side, we have the length of stay. Now length of stay, you just need to change the data type to O number. Should give us O number. So it's going to change to O number now. Let's see. Did I click on O number? Let me go and check. Okay, perfect. So we're seeing for the first patient now, the first patient spent 2 days, second patient spent 6 days, but we need the average. So Power Query is just for cleaning and transformation, and I don't think there's any other thing we need to do again. We've done all what we want to do from here. So the next thing is you go to back to home and click on close and load. Then you see close and load here. Close and load. Then to take you to Microsoft Excel, where we're going to begin our analysis. So the age group column I did earlier, guys, you can use another column like 0 to, if you can use another category if you wish, 0 to 18 for children, 19 to 35 maybe for young adults, maybe from 36 to 55 you can do adult, then you can have 56 plus, senior citizen, or any how you want to do it. So we are back on Excel Microsoft. We are back on Microsoft Excel, and let me close this. So we have a clean data now, right? And we have new columns added. Now we still have a raw data. That's the beauty of Power Query. When you use Power Query, guys, you know what I said earlier, it keeps your raw data untouched, and we have our clean data. Now we normally use pivot table for data analysis in Excel. We normally use pivot table for data analysis in Excel. So to do that, guys, have to come here and say insert. Then you see pivot table. Click on pivot table from table or range. Then you see new worksheet. Okay. So you see this is pivot table. This pivot table. So now we're going to use this to answer our questions. The first question, remember, the first question says patient volume trend. Let's first of all track the KPI that matters. I mean, what is total number of patients? So to do that, we are going to, you have 4 pins there. You have the value, you have the row, you have the column, and the filter. So anything you want to summarize, any column you want to summarize, any metric you want to summarize, you take it to value. Maybe you want to get the aggregate, you take it to value. So now, I want to get total number of patients, so I have to take name and drag it to values, and we'll have it immediately. So it's very easy here. So this total number of patients, we have 55,500. So let's do some formatting. So what we're gonna do from here, guys, is to click on this 55,500, and you go to home. Then you can apply the comma style format with 1,000 separator. Just click on it once. You see it is now formatted. Then you remove the decimal. We don't need it. Just click on this to keep removing the decimal. Show fewer decimal places. Now you can also rename it. Let's give it total number of patients. You double click on the count of name, and you can change it to total number of patients. Let's just say total patients. That's right. Then you do OK. So you see, we've answered the first question, guys. The next question we're gonna do from here is to get the total treatment cost. So to do that, please, I want you to copy. You can only use one pivot table to answer the question. So to answer that question, I have to copy this, Ctrl C, paste it beside it. So I have two pivot tables now. The first one is total patients. So is this second one that I will now edit to get the total treatment cost. So I've come here, this is for total patient, right? Remove it, click on it and drag out. You see pivot table 2 and bring in billing amount. So billing amount. So you see sum of billing, and by default Excel, the pivot table has summarized it. We have the sum of billing amount. Let's change it to total treatment costs. Right? Now, I think that's all right. So let's also do some formatting. You can come here and instead of custom, let's change it to currency, because the monetary value, click on it once. It says adding pounds, so but it is in dollars, so we need to change the symbol to dollar. So come here and make use of English United States. Remove the decimal as usual. I think it's perfect now, that's right. So now the next thing we want to do is copy this guy again, Ctrl C, and let's also get the average treatment cost. So instead of total treatment here, click on the arrow, the drop down arrow you are seeing here, guys, and you see value fit setting. Click on value fit setting. From there you see change it to average. Change the type of calculation you want, average. Enter. So we have the average billing amount. Perfect, right? So copy this again and let us get the last KPI I want to use, which is the length of stay. So escape. So instead of average billing amount, I have to go and make use of the length of stay column. We calculated that earlier. You drag it here. So by default Excel will sum, but you have to change it to what? Average, using value fit setting. So average. So average length of stay is 16 days. Perfect. So these are the KPI. These are the KPIs that matter. So we can now begin answering the questions. Then we also build our KPI. So we are gonna stop here. That will be part 1. Then part 2, I'm going to take you guys on how to answer the mini questions and build the dashboard and extract the insights.